and welcome back to the MyClayCo studio. I'm Carla and today we're going to get into some colour mixing, and to do that we need to talk about colour theory. Let's get into it. Now I'm not going to bore you too much with colour theory, but there are a couple of basics we need to go through first before we can understand how to colour mix polymer clay. This is a colour wheel. You've probably all seen a colour wheel or a variation of this colour wheel before, so let's just go over the basics of the colour wheel. I'm going to be using clay today, just so that it has a polymer clay twist to the colour wheel itself. So we start with our primary colours. We have red, yellow, and blue. These are your standard colours that you would start with, and if you mix these colours, they create your secondary colours. So yellow and red make orange, yellow and blue make green, and blue and red make violet. Now, if we mix primary and secondary colours together, we get tertiary colours. So tertiary colours, you've got red orange, yellow green, blue violet, and red violet. So why is it that when I mix a blue and a yellow, I don't get green? I get quite a murky green or a dull green, kind of like a Spanish olive or a khaki. Well, to go through that, we need to talk about colour bias. You may have heard about colour bias before, but it's different terminology, warm and cool tones. So if we bring back our colour wheel, we can see here that our primary colours are just that. They're exactly as they are, pure pigments of red, yellow, blue. However, when we get into our tertiary colours, they will have a certain bias. So if I'm mixing red and orange, I'll get red-orange. So this red has an orange bias. Same with if I mix orange with yellow, I'll get yellow-orange. Now, if I didn't want to have a bias, I would just use my standard primary yellow or my standard primary red. But when we're mixing with secondary colours, that's when we can get our different biases in. So let's look at this with greens. Here I have 3 different green tones. You've got your more standard green, a yellow green, and a blue green. You can see when they're all together, their particular biases. You can see the yellow warm undertones or the cooler blue undertones compared to the standard green. So when we're colour mixing greens, we can use these biases to help us get the kind of green tone that we want. So I know that blue and yellow make green. So if I take blue, depending on which yellow I mix in with this blue will determine how bright or dull my green colour is. So if I take this yellow, for example, which is cadmium yellow, this is an orange yellow. You can really see the difference when I put a fluoro yellow to it. Fluoro yellow has very green undertones. These are going to make 2 completely different greens when mixed with this blue. So here I've taken the same blue and I've just mixed with a different yellow, a cool tone and a warm tone. And you can see the greens that I got from these 2 are completely different. So you can see here my green yellow resulted in a almost neon, very vibrant green. Whereas my cadmium yellow, which carries that orange bias, is like a pale khaki Spanish olive colour. When looking at our colour wheel, we can work out complementary colours. Anything that is opposite on the colour wheel is a complementary colour. So orange and blue, opposite, complementary. This just means that they're a bold pairing. If you put them together, they're going to be complementary to one another. Now, in terms of colour mixing, if we were to mix complementary colours, they actually dull each other. And that's why you can see that this green is much duller than this green, because we used a yellow with an orange bias. So orange and blue are opposite on the colour wheel, so they're going to dull each other out when colour mixed. So let's try this with mixing a purple colour. You can see here I've got reds and blues. My more standard colours, my warm tone, so orange and purple or violet bias, and then my cool tones, so this is blue and green. So for example, if I know that I want to create a more autumn purple, I would mix probably my warmer colours to get that kind of orange purple undertone, because orange and purple synonymous with autumn. So I take my orange red and my blue violet, and I'm just going to mix these together. So now I've got this kind of very brown purple colour. I really like the autumn vibes of it, but it's too dark and a little bit too brown for my liking. So this is where your whites can come in. So white won't make this brighter, lighter, it'll make it paler. So as long as you know that when you're adding white to it, it's going to dilute your colours. So let's add some white to this. So you can see now that I've added the white, it's a much paler tone. So it doesn't look as brown, it's more now a little bit more plummy. And when I put it with my autumnal colours, that makes a beautiful autumn colour palette. Okay, we'll do one more mix of a purple. This time we're going to go for a slightly brighter purple. So I've got a red and a blue. I'm using a paler blue this time. Both of these have a violet undertone to them. So we'll mix them and we'll see what we need to do from there. Okay, so I've got this one. It's a much brighter purple than our last one. It's almost like a turnip colour. So I can either leave it like this, or I might do half-half, and I'll show you what it would look like with a little bit of white mixed into it. Okay, and this is the difference with a bit of white mixed in. So you can see here the colour difference. It's just a paler tone of the original. But you can see they're a much more vibrant, brighter purple than our autumnal purple. And this is a clear demonstration of why it's so important to understand your colour bias when colour mixing, because you can see here the duller tone that we wanted in our autumnal, it might not work for what you want to do. So if you know that you're going to need a brighter purple, you want to make sure that you're not using those complementary colours as biases when you're mixing, just so that you do get those brighter tones. There is so much information on colour theory out in the world. I personally love going to YouTube and looking up exactly what I'm after in terms of colour theory. But if you're a maker, and especially in the polymer clay world, it's great just to have a couple of handy tools around in your station. Just having one of those colour wheels that I showed earlier is an amazing tool to have. You can grab your clay and you can kind of see on the wheel what its colour bias is, and therefore how you'll be able to mix with it. We also recommend having a couple of books by your station, whether that be a very theoretical book, which is more like a textbook. You might find that that's exactly what you need if you really want to delve deep into colour theory. Or you could simply have a colour harmony book, like this one from Pantone that we picked up. It's simply just got a bunch of colour wheels in it, and it's showing different harmonies of colours depending on what vibes that you're after for your pieces. We hope you've enjoyed the video today and that you've learnt something about colour theory. If it's helped you at all, please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time.